Yeah, my name is Frode. I work for Stack, Critical Facilities Director. Actually, as of Tuesday this week, I actually got promoted. So there's possibility for career growth in the business as well. I started in the company 10 years ago as a technician, and yeah, worked my way up the ranks, and now I'm actually vice president of data center operations in the Nordics. So yeah.
Hey.
I'm here to talk today about the skills that we need to run data centers here in that. Yeah, in Stack. So what are we looking for? So just to take a few steps back, these are the 5 life cycle stages of a data center. You have the planning phase, design, build, as was just covered, operate, and then assess, and then the wheel starts spinning again. So the $1 million question: where do you think data center operations fit in here? Anyone? Is it here, or it's perhaps operate, of course? But something that's really important to understand as well is that when you are working in data center operations, you are basically in that data center every day from its opening day till its closing. So you are basically the people who know what's need to be done all the way around here. So in other words, the guys who are working in data center operation, they will be part of all these 5 stages. Say you have a data center that has been running for about 5-10 years, then you are at like an assessment stage. Do we need to rebuild? Do you need to expand? Where do you get the knowledge to figure out what has been good so far and bad? Well, that's the guides in operations. So they are part of that assessment phase. When you're planning a new DC, you need lessons learned from the operational phase, when you decide it as well, and when you build. So operational people in the data center are basically stakeholders in all the 5 life cycle stages of the data center's life. So, who are we looking for? We are looking for people to run the data center day to day, making sure that it's running smoothly 365 days a year. So when we set up a team to do this on our data center campuses, we need a few key roles. We need the management, of course. We have a campus manager and a critical facilities manager. So one is in charge of the actual data center, the other one is in charge of the team who is operating this day to day. On the usual Stack data center, we have the requirements for our clients to be there 24/7 on site. So we need to have technicians working in a shift rotation to be able to respond to things that are happening every day. So you need at least about 8 technicians. If we even have more demands, like that we actually need to double our staff due to the size of our campuses, it's even more. So in other words, for a local operational team, you actually need over 8%, well, over 8% will be technicians. So that is actually what we're looking for. That's where the high demand is. People who can run the data center in the day-to-day business. So what does a technician do? Well, as I said, they need to ensure that the operation is running smoothly all year round, for every second, every minute, every day. These are some of the things that a technician needs to do when he's on the job. Need to monitor and act on alarms. If something happens, it will be the first responder for the incident and escalate and report it accordingly. And also, of course, also make sure that we are back up and running if something happens. They are the ones coordinating and planning and also performing operational tasks on site to basically prevent incidents. And as well, as I mentioned before, they are also stakeholders into everything that we do on site. So they will also provide cross-departmental support. Do the construction team or the sales team need some information from how the data center is day to day? Well, the local operational team needs to support that as well. So We also, of course, have some preferred competence that we are looking for. So if we are going to hire a technician in our team, a background in DC operations, of course, that will be really good to have. But as we have covered before, we are in high demand. We don't have the supply of people with that experience. And even though what was mentioned is that we also have, it's a lot of people that is retiring within next 8 years. So to be able to get new people in, that is a big challenge. So what we have done while recruiting for our data center operation teams the last 5-6 years is actually go out and look for someone who has a background in a relevant discipline. So I mentioned electricians, that's part of it, of course, but you also have people from other backgrounds, industrial mechanics, electronics, HVAC, even plumbing, security, you name it. If you have something to bring to the table that is relevant to the industry, then you have something that is interesting for us. That could be an engineering or vocational degree, trade certificate, or even just work experience. So if you have something like this to bring to the table, of course, that is a really good. Because we provide the data center skills and competence, and you gain it on the job through, for example, programs as that showing. So, skills, of course, know your way around a computer is always good. You don't have to be an IT expert, but you need to kind of know the basics, how to turn on a laptop, how to do easy communication. Of course, there will be training here as well, but it's always good to have that as a skill coming into the job. Technical skills, being handy, so of course also handy. And understanding processes, workflows, dependency, what happens when I push this button? Will the data center stop, or are we good to go? The most important thing when we are recruiting people to our DC OXTs is basically who are you as a person? It's always good to come with a set of competence and skills, but what we really is looking for are who are you in certain situations? Are you technically curious? Do you want to know more about the whole ecosystem, or are you a person who just want to stick to your trade? So say an electrician, you could be the world's greatest electrician, but if you don't care about the other stuff, well then perhaps this is not the industry for you. But if you have that curiousness that you want to know, okay, there's a cooling unit over there. What happens if I turn that off? What happens to the airflow? What happens to the temperatures? Is there other things happening? And you want to kind of be that go-to person for everything, that knows all about everything around here in the center, then you're the right person. Of course, able to keep a cool head in the stressful situation, be able to take that step back. That is also a really good thing to have, because if, like I say, shit hits the fan, of course you need to be able to think clearly and not just run around like a headless chicken, basically. And of course also, being a team player, we are kind of saying in Stack that we as colleagues are like family, and it's like kind of a thing everyone says, but it actually feels like that because everyone are there to pull in the same direction. Really, they are not just colleagues, they are friends, and they want to be there to help each other out. And be part of that environment is really key for us as well. But this is the most important part. If you have something of the competence and skill, all is good. To be that kind of person is what we really look for. What I would like to do is just take you through a quick scenario regarding cooling and what the technician could experience and have to act on a day-to-day basis. Hopefully not day-to-day, because our data centers are perfect, no faults there. But just as an example here, you have a data hall. Yeah, you can see from the side and from above, X amount of cooling units supplying cool air into a data hall. It's set up to have the possibility to take out one unit and still have the capacity to make this run. So what happens when that one cooling unit fails? Should you run around like a headless chicken, or should you take that step back? Well, from what you can see here, we still have the capacity to run everything. You might get some hotspots somewhere in the data hole. However, you should of course be vigilant and be on your toes and make sure to figure out what has happened and do the proper things and the proper operations. But then you go on. 2 cooling units have failed. Then you don't have the capacity to cool the servers that are in that data hole. Then temperature is starting to increase, and the client, of course, will be not that happy because at some point the servers are down. This is the scenario we don't want, of course. So what do you have to do in a situation like that? You can kind of take it down to 4 steps. If something is starting to happen, you get alarms on your operational monitoring systems. What to do? You need to do that. You need to take that step back and assess the situation. You need to escalate and report to the right people internally and of course to the clients as well. Because when things are happening and you potentially are coming into that phase where your services are interrupted, the client wants to know as soon as possible, of course, so they can do their mitigations as well. Then start troubleshooting, and then try to fix or establish some kind of workaround. Get back to a stable operation. What we do not want people to do is like this. Headless chickens running around, taking those four steps, throwing it up in the air, see what sticks, see what's falling down. Let's hope perhaps we get it right. We send around the kind of everything's on fire messages, and the clients are anxious, and we might try to be able to fix this, but they don't seem like professional, calm people. What we also do not want is this. The people that just say, there's some alarms. Yeah, but I've seen them before. This is fine. Let's take another coffee. And everything's on fire around them. So I got a suggestion actually from the Umida. Perhaps we should have had a transition where you take the head of the dog and the body of the chickens, put them together, and then you have the perfect technicians. But I don't know.
I'm sure AI could do it for you in seconds.
So somewhere in the middle is where you want to be. You need to be on your toes. You need to be vigilant, but you must not panic. You need to know what steps to take, and of course that is something that is provided to you via the training that you get on the job. That was everything from me.
So,